Greetings from the Eccentric Man. Today is a Congo game. We're playing the second scenario, which is the King of the Apes, and we're going to be playing it down at Lost Ark Games in Stevenage. The aim is for John and his White Man expedition is to capture the Great Ape, and he's got to do that by taking the last wound off in melee, and the Great Ape I think has 8 wounds. I'm doing the Worshipper Tribes people, and I've got to kill Kong and also try and kill John's units. But what also John's got to try and do is to loot the little heirloom type things around Kong in the middle there. You can see the little 4 spread out, and John's got to loot those. So that's our table for playing today, and let's have a quick look at the 2 columns.
My columns today was going to be the Forest Tribes, so I took a champion, 2 units of young warriors, a unit of bundukis with muskets, a Forest Tribe ally with the Pygmy King as my second character, a unit of Pygmy warriors, and a group of Pygmy archers, which were split in 2x3s. So they were my force, and had a little bit of a synergy together. If you take the chieftain in the Forest Tribes, then you can, when you move him, you can move 2 units of young warriors at the same time. So with this army, I put him in 1 unit of young warriors, which meant that when I moved them, I could move another, which is quite useful. So that could well help me in this scenario. The Pygmies, the 2 units of 3, make up 1 unit of Pygmies for shooting, and they get some additional little features that if one activates, then the other activates. But they also come with poison on their weapons. So if you roll the same dice value, however many of those dice you rolled, you get a automatic hit. But you're only rolling 3 dice for each shooting unit, so it's a little bit tricky. But that was my column. So let's have a look at John's. And John was taking the White Man's expedition in this game. John's force was going to be significantly larger than mine with what he was taking. So he had an explorer and the reporter, I think it is. He had a unit of sailors and a unit of Askari behind, 2 units of young warriors, 2 units of scouts, a unit of archers, and a unit of adventurers. And tagged to the sailors and tagged to the adventurers were bearers. And the bearers allow you to carry heavy objects without able to carry heavy objects without having to be stuck with moving just 1s. So normally troops can, if they're able to, they can move 2s unless they're carrying something heavy. So that's what the bearers come into their own, and they can help you ignore that S penalty. So that's John's White Man's expedition.
Initial setup done. We start in opposite corners, and we've got 2 factions each, or two columns. The columns are split in half. So John's over in that corner, and this corner, and I've got mine set up over in that corner. And a quick whiz round, you'll get dizzy. And in this corner, John, his troops, the White Man's expedition, has been hacking through the jungles for 3 weeks and start exhausted. So if you remember from the previous video, they have to take a little test, and they need to pass on a 5. If they roll a 1, they lose a man, and if they fail the 5, they have to take a stress token. So John rolled for his exhaustion, and 1 unit, the scouts, was it? The scouts got a stress token. That means for this turn they lose a shooting dice, which I don't think would be much difficult for them. There you go, Kong in the middle. And then over on this side, the young warriors were not so lucky, and they rolled a 1 and lost a man and got a terror token. So that could be quite useful to me. So yeah, that's the initial setup. We're going to deal out the cards, and then we'll take the first action step of turn 1. Turn 1, end of action step 1, and as we can see, the explorers are hacking out across their corner of the table towards the lair with the scouts and the sailors, and I've been pushing forward the pygmy king and the pygmies over on this side. The warriors are hot-footing it. They've got a champion, and the champion allows the young warriors, if the champion activates with his unit, then another 2 units of young warriors, but I've only got 1 other unit, so they can move with 1 activation. And over in this corner, John's moved up the scouts and the adventurers. Yeah, adventurers with the reporter and 1 of the characters. But he didn't have enough to move anything else, so the archers and the young warriors are remaining in the corner. So that was the first step into action step 2. End of turn 2, and we're hacking across the table still. There was a little bit of sneakiness with the cards and tokens, and not a roll off for initiative, but decisions over who would go first. So it's really interesting mechanics with the cards and thinking about initiative, because if you decide to break a tie with the cards as an initiative, then you have to give the initiative token up, and that can be significant. But I didn't want to get my troops shot, so I've scarpered them round to this side. Kong in the middle can't get further out than those tokens which are around him. So I've moved my warriors around this side to avoid getting shot at by the musket-armed Askari. So what John did then was shot at Kong. He hit 3 times, but I saved twice, so he's only got 1 wound. Kong reduces his attack abilities by the number of life dice he has lost. So at the moment he starts off at 8, and now he's lost 1 life and he's down to 7. So his attack dice are now at 7 rather than the 8. So interesting mechanics on how we got to win this, because John needs to kill him in hand to hand. So the less attack dice, the more his unit has a chance of surviving. But he reduces it down, and I've got a better chance of killing him. However, if I have a better chance of killing him, John has a better chance of charging in on the next one with initiative to kill him off. So it's an interesting conundrum. Over here, John has moved up his unit of explorer and reporter, who has caught their first sight of the great ape. So further back, the warriors are moving up a little bit. So end of turn 2, and interesting. We shall go into turn 3 and see how we're going to do this. So we'll try and do this one-handed. My young warriors over there have got the jump on John's adventurers over here, and I'm going to throw my assegais. So I've got 5 assegais, and it's a d6. Oh, let's just see if I can support my arm. So it's a d6, and we need 5s to hit.
5s and 6s, yeah.
5s and 6s.
1 hit, 2 hits.
So we got 2 hits, and John does a defence save from the shooting, and I think as it's in the jungle...
No, it doesn't.
No, not dense.
Not
No.
that I can see anything.
So John will be needing 5s on
D6.
d6 for his cover save. So what do you got? So 2 hits.
2 hits. None.
No saves.
No
Oh
saves.
dear.
So it's 2 dead.
That's quite harsh.
And I've got a character there.
Oh yeah, and the character takes a hit on a 1.
Do you roll twice or just once? It's only once, isn't it?
You've got 2 characters, haven't you?
No, I've only got 1 character in the unit.
Oh right, yes, 1 character. Just the once.
Okay.
He's alive. Or she's alive.
So I lose
Okay,
2.
so you lose 2. John had 2 adventurers killed, so he used the special rule, which means you can bring back 1 of your adventurers, but you take 2 stress tokens. He was hoping to get 3, have 3, and then use his rifles to shoot either the pygmies or the warriors.
Unfortunately, he has to take 2 stress tokens if he sort of doesn't have one killed. So he pulled out the right hand, which means they can't take any action this step, and they can't move. No, they get one.
They get one less.
They can only go S.
Yeah.
So his little ploy, nice as it was, backfired. And he also realised that because they've got muskets over there, he's got to take an action to reload. So he's actually got to use a firing command to reload them. So a bit, yeah, unfortunate action step there for John.
Poor adventurers. Even with John doing that extra bit of save, it still didn't save the adventurer. So John's lost another one out, which is a bit of a shame for John. I've moved my little pygmies and took a shot at Kong, so he's now down to 5 lives. John, on the other hand, took a shot at the pygmies in the cover. I'd misread it, and I thought he couldn't shoot me in the cover, but John had a quick look, and his sailors were just within M, so he was able to get a shot off at mine. So and then killed 2. Despite me rolling 2 D8s for cover, he did kill 2. Did try to put a stress token on them, and fortunately they survived because they take a D10 bravery test because of the Pygmy King being in play. So other things are moving up. Sailors are putting a bit of pressure. Over in the middle, yep, John used a 3 terror token to put some terror tests on my troops. I passed 2 of them and failed 1, so the chieftain in the unit there, they've got a terror test, so John could be quite useful next turn for John, because he could put another one on there and I'd have to use 2 dice to I'd have to roll 2 terror tests because of the 2 markers. So yeah, still over here, John's trying to hack up with his troops. What we have sort of realised within this scenario is that I do have quite a good advantage, because all I've got to do is kill Kong, but John's got a lot more units than I have, so he's got to try and move them quickly to try and get them into the killing zone of Kong for melee. I, on the other hand, because of the jungle tribes synergies, I can move things fairly quickly. So although I've got 5 units, a marker with 4 movement can allow me to move everything. So I was able to get things up much quicker. So, but still the issue is that I've got to try and get rid of the 2 of John's units before I can try and finish off Kong. Because depending on the initiative cards and how it works, John could still charge in when it's on low health and kill Kong. So it's still an interesting strategy, but I feel I might have a slight upper hand. A good start to turn 4. I took a shot with my warriors, who I got rid of their stress token. Took a shot at the 2 adventurers, needing a 5 or 6. So young warriors, they're cheap, but they're not very good shots. So yeah, John survives this action step. John's fired his musket Ascari at my pygmies and killed 2. So I've got to take a test with the king as the character, and I've got to roll a d10, and on a 1, he is no more.
Ooh, that was close.
Oh, it's a 2. That was close, wasn't it? Oh dear. See, the foliage gets in the way. I've got 1 movement to do, and the adventurers are within 2 movements, short movements of Kong. So I control Kong as part of my warband, so Kong is going to charge the 2 lady adventurers. That's what I'm going to do. Kong's got 5 wounds left, so he'll be having 5 dice. It will be interesting. So Kong is going to do his worst on the lady adventurers. So he has
5 attacks using D8s. Let's
That's from the Con film.
let's see what we're going to get.
On that one, oh,
2. Just the 2.
oh, that not be good.
Yeah, just the 2.
However,
Yep.
I fight back, don't I?
You do.
But I'm only D6.
D6 combat. Yep.
Well, I don't think the adventurer's got a D6. So hang on a minute. I need to,
Oh, no plus
I need to find
D6.
that.
Oh, is that an extra move?
Yeah, it's great. Extra combat.
Oh, yeah. Extra, yeah, D8. Oh, sneaky one.
1.
1 hit.
And you got
2.
right. I don't think the reporter has a combat. I don't think.
I don't know.
Wait a minute. Reporter, no combat.
No combat. So,
Beat me by 1.
beat you by 1. So I think that's a stress token and just a 1 back, isn't it?
1 more hit. The loser removes 1 figure, retreats, and both groups draw a stress token.
Ah.
But he can't draw.
He can't. He doesn't get one. No.
So I lose a figure.
Yeah. Things are hotting up in the jungle. Obviously, we've seen the result of the adventurers getting too adventurous close to Kong. So Kong has had a little dig at them. But the warriors, young warriors of the explorers, have come up quite quick now, and they are getting close to Kong. And also over on this side, the sailors have come up. John's musket Ascari took a shot at these and killed 2 of them, but fortunately, as you saw, I saved the king wasn't killed. John did take a shot at the pygmy over here, but I was able to save that with his defence save for the cover. But things are moving up further, and also the warriors over here are closing up. So yeah, I haven't been able to move very much of my other troops on this side. As you can see, the sun is shining through the trees into the jungle clearing. So into turn 5. The sunlight coming through the trees, the foliage in this jungle, is making the videoing slightly difficult. What I've done in this turn is I've used a totem card, and I've used this totem card because I'd only selected 3 shootings, and I couldn't shoot with anything because I've got a red hand on my pygmies over to the right. The other unit of young warriors is out of range, and also the Ascari, the Badunkai, I've got to reload. So I wasn't going to be able to kill Kong. I need to take some wounds off him, but John's ahead in points, and he was looking like he could charge Kong next time. So I've gone for an action card, which allows me to attack Kong, and I'm hoping that I can then shoot with the young warriors and take off the last wounds of Kong. So John's going to help me now by taking Kong's wounds down. That's the theory. Enter turn 5, and the combat I hoped would do some damage to Kong didn't. It was drawn. John with his D6s did 2, and Kong with his D8s did 2. So John's warriors retreated. I then took some shots with my young warriors, but I've only put 1 wound on him, onto Kong. So that's interesting. We're going to move into turn 6 now, and it's pretty up in the air because I've got, yeah, I'll lose the red hand off of the pygmies for the moment, but things are looking very close again. Failed to mention that John's sailors duffed up 2 pygmies. So out of that pygmy unit, they operate in 2 sections of 3. So John's got 1 more pygmy to kill to wipe out the unit. Beginning of turn 6, I'm going for it. I've used initiative 6 card. John came up with initiative 1 of, terror. So he's going to do 3 terror tests. That's going to be interesting. But I've used a D8 plus D8, so I'm charging Kong. So he's got 4 wounds left. I'm unlikely to do 4.
So the initiative card,
Can't do 4. The max you can do
max
is
is 3. So John says the max is 3, so it's going to be on the last initiative card then, on the second card's action step. That's it. That'll be the interesting one then. We'll see what's what. Okay then, so I'm going to charge in. I've got a number of dice. I've got 5 D8s for the Warriors. Are they combat D8? Let's just check my little list. I think they are. With assegais, aren't they? Combat D8, yeah. So I've got 5 of those, plus 1 for the totem card. And I've got a D10 for the main guy. So we're trying to aim into this area, needing 5s. Big sigh. 1. And the and Kong is going to come back with 4. Go on, John.
2.
2. So Kong wins by 1.
By 1,
Which is naff all to me. My attack on Kong didn't work out as I intended, so that was a bit of a shame. We have, however, taken out 1 unit of Warriors of John, so that's given me some points to go along with. I think John's 1 point ahead of me. No, 5 points to John because Kong's down to 3.
And 3 to you.
And 3 to me, so it's pretty close. So with that, John has moved the Explorer out of harm's way, moved them back. I've lost those 2 pygmies there. This unit of pygmies had a bit of contact and bounced, but they did survive, the king and his mate. This unit's not looking so good as it was. They've had some shooting on them from that after they got duffed up by Kong, which is a bit of a shame. I have moved up my Bundaki to take a shot at Kong hopefully in the next turn. But John's units over here are still quite good. They're not too bad over there. These ones are not going to be doing very much. So he is down to 3. Can I get rid of it? We're going to turn 7 next, and it's at the beginning of each phase.
The game ends immediately when Kong is captured or killed. At the beginning of each step of the action phase of the 7th turn.
Right. So this is an action step of the 7th turn.
The last turn of the game.
Yeah.
So this is the last one. There won't be any more after this.
So 7th turn.
Yeah, it says this is the 7th turn, the last turn of the game.
Right, so we're going to have...
This is either going to happen or not.
Right, okay then. Roll us a dice.
I need a success.
A success?
No.
So that ends.
Ends the game.
So that ends the game. So I think John wins the game on 1 point, because I haven't been able to kill Kong.
I got 2 points higher.
Ah, because you got...
I got 5 and you got 3.
Yeah, 2 points higher. 2 points in it. So, what a shame. That was very close. So a win to John on points, 5 to 3.
I like this game.
And you do. That's a second win to you, isn't it? I just couldn't do enough to do that. If we'd had another action step.
Yeah.
That was a close game. Just going to John with those 2 points. What went wrong? Well, if you can call it what went wrong, I think Kong not taking 2 wounds off the adventurers caused a little problem. I was hoping for a little bit better there to actually take out a unit. That probably would have sort of balanced it off a bit, but it didn't. So that meant that John's lady could get further away from my troops. And I think what also caused me the problem was that I picked out a stress token for the unit of pygmies, and it was the white hand, which meant that I couldn't do anything, which was a real shame. But although it was going to come off at the end of turn 6, we then went into that roll-off for turn 7, and if I'd had 1 more action step, I might well have been able to get into a position to take out the adventurers. I don't know if I would have been able to take out Kong. He was quite hard to take wounds off. But a really interesting scenario, really good fun scenario. Knowing that you need to take wounds off him and I need to kill him, but I don't want to leave him on such low wounds that John can get a unit in to finish him off. And again, John doesn't want to try and finish him off until he's got low enough wounds to more or less guarantee it, because he knows that if he leaves it with few wounds, I can then get in and kill Kong myself. So yeah, it was a fun little scenario. So enjoying Congo at the moment. Still working on the German expedition, but I've started on them and I've got a couple of those painted up, and I'll probably stick a little picture of what I've got done so far onto the end of this video. Well, thank you very much for watching. Please give it a thumbs up if you liked it, subscribe if you haven't, hit the notification bell so that you know that more videos are coming, and until the next time, take care. Don't forget, stick comments down, anything you want to say on the comment section. Always look forward to reading them, and until the next time, take care.